Hey, what is up, guys? My name is Cameron Gallagher from We Are Film, and today we're going to talk about the Emotive color Alex Lut. So Emotive color has been making LUTs for some time now, and one of my favorite ones that they had made was actually the GH Alex Lut. So Alex over there made an amazing LUT for the GH5, and I did a video on that before, and that basically makes the GH5 look like an Alexa. And I loved it. It was an awesome LUT, and it really just helped bloom the highlights, and it gave it a real Alexa color look too, which I think was just much more pleasing for the GH5 sensor, and I really, really liked. Now, one thing that I noticed recently was that Emotive Color and Alex over there started making more LUTs for different cameras. So the Alex conversion LUTs now are for everything from the A7S III to the Fujifilms to more of the Lumix line, as well as the Ursa. And the Ursa one got me super interested, so I reached out to Emotive Color, and they were super kind enough to send over their Alexa LUTs for the Ursa. So they did send this to me, but of course this is not a sponsored video. I'm not getting paid for this at all. But I wanted to show you what the Alexa LUT, or the Alex LUT, sort of does, what it looks like, and just kind of show you some good examples, because I think it's a really awesome LUT that can just make your entire footage look better and kind of enhance any camera that you're shooting on, especially something like the Sony cameras or the GH5s, where like the colors are good, but they're not great. The Ursa obviously is a great camera, but this is just going to make it look that much more like an Alexa. So I'm going to hop in Davinci Resolve and show you what this looks like. Now, this can work, of course, a lot in any software. So you have Premiere Pro, if you have Final Cut Pro X, any of that stuff can work. Right now I have a clip, and this clip has a so it's the Gen 5 color, and this is converted to the extended video. So this is typically what my Ursa Mini footage would look like if I just were to do like a standard conversion. Now I am using all of the Gen 5 color right now, so I'm doing everything in the Gen 5 color, so, you know, that doesn't really matter that much. It's just converting the Gen 5 instead of Gen 4, but same idea. So this is the footage without a LUT on there. Again, this is the standard conversion, and then I have a second clip too that we're going to look at in a second. Same idea, standard conversion, no conversion. So let's go to this first one, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I'm in clip, because I shot in Blackmagic Raw, of course, Gen 5 color, which obviously this LUT works for any different type of codec or color space. So whatever you're in, there'll be an option for that. So I'm going to make a new LUT, or excuse me, a new node, Alt-S, and then from here I'm going to add the daylight LUT, because this was shot in daylight. Now there's obviously different color temperatures, so if you shot in tungsten or if it's daylight balance, whatever it may be, just change that according. I find just the 65 is kind of the standard LUT, and boom, I'm going to apply it, and now it's applied to that node, and you can see this is the LUT. And right off the bat, one thing I can tell is that this renders greens and reds differently. And I mean that in a good way, not a bad way. So it renders the greens and reds slightly different, which is closer to the Alexa, because you can see this footage, which is the general conversion, looks a little more brown, a little more washed out, where this one has a little more contrast to it. I noticed that just a hair. So a little more contrast, but you can see that the skin tones look a little more natural, like his skin looks a little bit more creamy and smooth and natural looking, where here it looks kind of like brown and off-colored, and I don't want to say red, but somewhere in there, where this you can see there's more green and the reds are a little more pink and actually like flesh-like. You can see on his lips, it looks more natural. And then there's a little more green and yellow in the background too. You can really see that. So I just love how pleasing this is to the eye. I think it looks a lot more natural, and I think it's a great base too. So you can use this as a base. So I can make another LUT, or excuse me, another node here. And I could go to something like the Triune Cinema LUTs, because I do love these things. Now in this case, I'm converting to basically a Rec 709. So I would do a standard LUT, not a like LUT that's for a log or something. And then I could add a cinema look or a grade LUT on top. So these are kind of a little extreme. I mean, this one's not too bad. So something like that, you can see it maybe brings it closer to what this looks like. But again, this just looks so nice. His skin is blooming a little bit too. I don't know if you noticed, but so in this, which is the generic conversion down there, you can see that his skin I don't want to say it's not clipping, obviously. You know, we can see the scopes down here fine, but you can see that it's just like a little more harsh. Where you can see here with the Alex Lut, I'll turn off the color here. You can see his skin just looks smoother because it's basically blooming those highlights. And again, we're not clipping, but it's just giving them this nice like roll off and this smoothness to it. So again, yeah. And then what I could do is, so this is the Batman, right? So I'll turn that back on. And let me go to this one and let's add the Batman to it so you can see what the difference is. So this is the Batman with the general log Lut, and then this is the Batman with the Alex Lut on there first. So you can see, again, it's just kind of adding the skin tones are looking a little smoother, a little bit better roll off, looks more natural. This looks good still, of course, but it just has a different look. Now, oddly enough, it looks a little more contrasty, and you can notice here in the shadows in the Alexa, you're getting a little bit more. So yeah, okay, let's jump on this next shot here. So again, this is our standard conversion, and I think it looks good, but I think it just looks, I don't know, just kind of boring and a little too red and like pink. And we'll kind of see if that can be changed in a second. So let's jump in. Let's go to clip Gen 5. So this is putting us in our Gen 5 color space, and this is where we're going to go up to the Alex Lut. Go back here, and let's do that daylight again. Boom, add it. So again, you can see immediately that it's much greener and there's more like pink in the skin tone. Now, let's say, again, we wanted to grade this. So, for instance, you know, because this is a LUT, I would never just tack this on. I'm actually going to add a new LUT and then add it there. So, we're going to do our correction before. So, what I would do is I would probably add contrast, because I definitely think it's a little contrasty. I would probably bring the saturation down. So, I'd come here, turn the saturation down, because I think it's a little bit too much. And then, okay, that looks a little more basic to me. But you can see here, it just looks so different converted. It's like way more saturated. So I'd have to turn this way down. Let's bring that like right up to almost 100 IRE there on the scopes. Such a difference just in the look. So you can see, again, this is our Alex Lut, and that is the standard. It's kind of weird to look at because you don't realize when you do the standard conversion just how odd this looks. Like it has like a very washed out brown look to it, where when you use the Alexa conversion, this looks very natural. Obviously this shoot was very stylized. It was a film, so it has, you know, a very interesting film look to it, but you can just see what a difference it makes in the skin tone. Again, this highlight roll off right up here. So we can see we're at like 900 IRE, and you can see here we're almost clipping, and it just has a different look to it. This just looks, I don't know, it's just something about it. I can't put my finger on it, but this just looks smoother. And although this may be a little bit green for me, I'd probably pull the green out just a hair. You can see just like that. That looks so much better. This looks super natural, not as in spooky, but very natural. And this just has this like weird hazy look to it, this like brown haze, which I don't even know how I'd have to get out there. I'd probably have to like pull this much more green, but you can see if I start pulling it green, it makes her look sick. Where again, this just matches the Alexa's color space, which, you know, when you shoot an Alexa, it just looks that much better. And the great thing is, the Ursa is one of the best sensors out there and is probably the closest sensor to an Alexa. I've heard a lot of DPs say that. So for me, using the Ursa and then using the Alex Lut on there is huge, because now it's probably the closest thing to shooting on Alexa that you can possibly get for the price. And of course, shooting on Alexa is very expensive. So being able to do it on an Ursa Mini Pro G2 in my case, and then being able to make it look like this and just look so much better. Again, you can just see the difference. Like, I'll pull the Batman Law off there again. And yeah, so I mean, this is the regular conversion, and you can see over here our Alex Lut. It's just smoother highlight roll off, and the colors just look that much more natural, and it gives you a better starting point too. So if you want to start from here and then move on, your image already looks better from the get-go. So again, Emotive Color did not sponsor this video. They did send it over, so a huge thank you to them for doing that. I totally recommend this. I mean, honestly, I recommended the GH Alex Lut, and I think this is great, and I think no matter what camera you're using, so again, if you're using, the Sony a7S series, the other Lumix cameras, some Fuji cameras, or the Ursa, or the Pocket 4K and 6K, this is the easiest way to make it look like an Alexa. And this is definitely the best way to get the best color out of it. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.